I am so excited that you guys signed up for this challenge because this is something different that we've never done before on thrift diving. And I know some of you have done all the challenges that we do at thrift diving. Most of them are furniture makeovers because that's what we do. But, I think we've built this amazing community of people that just love to support each other. And, whether we're decorating a house or, putting together wills and all that stuff, I think you guys are like my community. And I think a lot of the stuff that I've gotten done in my own house, I wouldn't have been able to get done without you guys. Like, we support each other. And so, I don't know if you guys had watched the interview that I did with Dana. Dana's in Arizona. Forgot to give Dana that shout out, but as a blogger, a lot of times I'll get contacts from PR people and they'll say, "Hey, do you want to review this book?" And so I got this email message about Dana and that she had this guide, and she's a retirement specialist teaching people how to like plan for the retirement and all that. And I thought, this would be really great to talk to her for my podcast, which I've recorded episodes and never released it, which is, yeah, that's a whole different topic. So Dana and I, we had a chance to talk. And one thing that I loved about Dana is that when the interview was set up, she reached out to me by phone. People don't do that anymore. Everything's email. So she called and, "Hey, just want to introduce myself."
Really?
Yes, you called me. You called me.
I know, but people don't do that anymore?
No.
Oh,
I don't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number.
well, I'm old school, so there you go.
Yes. So she and I had a chance to talk before we sat down to have the big talk. And she has an amazing story that really just touched my heart. And have most of you saw the interview that I did with her on my YouTube channel?
No, I didn't see it.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Okay, so some of you did and some of you didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Dana. She can introduce herself, tell you a little bit more information, but also she can tell you her story and how this actually came to be. So as we were talking, she was telling me her story about how she came up with this guide. A lot of us purchased this guide. It's a book on pretty much everything that you need to have for your loved ones to close out your life. And so, but I'm going to let Dana talk for a few minutes here and talk about where the inspiration for that came from. So Dana, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Hello, everybody. And oh my gosh, I am amazed at how far out there my mom is right now. That is so funny. So thank you all that purchased the book or the guide and the binders and the ebooks. And I am a retirement advisor, and I specialize in Medicare planning. So what I do for a living is I help people transition from working years to retirement. And then I just basically stay their advocate going forward. And my services are free for people. So I just really try and be a blessing to people. So with this guide, basically what happened is my mom and I, her name was Arlene. Her real name was Vivian Arlene Ankrum, but she went by Arlene. We were best of friends, spoke every day, but she lived in California and I live in Arizona. She lost her husband in 2016. And in the latter part of 2016, I was able to take her to Louisiana. We had a mother-daughter trip it was fabulous. It was such a blessing. We got to spend some incredible quality time together. But I realized during that trip that she was just off a little bit. She was about in her 80s. So, we came home and I said, Mom, when I come back next time, I really want to go to the doctors with you and I'd like to see what they have to say and just make sure you're okay. So I went back and when I went to the doctors with her, I found out that she had congestive heart failure and that her heart was functioning at about 40%. So I panicked, obviously, as any child would do when they find out their parent is sick, but asked her to move to Arizona. She was a very stubborn woman and very independent, and I get it. So she stayed in California. But when I came back, I really knew that her time was going to be coming sooner rather than later. And because of what I do for a living, I know from my clients how difficult it is to close someone's life. it's not just about a will or a trust. There's a whole bunch of work that has to be done to really close someone's life. And that's what we're going to all do together today is prepare ourselves and our families and create some peace of mind for all of us. So anyway, when I knew that my mother was sick, I kind of sat down and I typed up a bunch of information that I thought that I would need to know. And I put it in a booklet form, and I mailed it to her and called her and said, hey, I'm sending this booklet to you. I would appreciate it if you would fill it out and send it back. I told her what it was. So she received it. She called me. She cussed at me because it was about 50 pages long, but she did it. And it took her 3 months to do it. She mailed it back in October of 2018. So I received it back on January 18th of 2019. And I called her and I said, thank you. And, you know, she cussed at me again and she said it was a labor of love. But, you know, she did it because she loved me and because she didn't want to burden me. And she said she was tired and she was going to go to bed and we would talk tomorrow. We talked every day. I said, okay, go get some rest. I love you and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And just like the guide says, tomorrow never came. My mother passed that night. She took a shower. She put on her most comfy pajamas and she climbed into bed and she went home to be with the Lord. So I didn't find out until the next day. I couldn't get a hold of her. So I called a neighbor and yeah, and she was gone. So when I went to California the next day, took this book with me or the booklet, and it was very surreal going into her house. It was hard, but yet it was really peaceful because that's where she passed. And I sat down at the kitchen table. I had no idea what to do at all. Never been through this before. So I sat down and I said, all right, well, let me see what information I have here. And when I opened up the book and I started really looking at the information, and I was seriously amazed with myself. I'm not going to lie. My Southern's coming out, but there you go. All I had to do was make phone calls. I knew every account number. I knew every password. I knew every contact name and phone number. I knew where every document was located. I just couldn't believe what I had created. And literally that moment, I was like, holy crap. Sorry, but I've got something special here. And that was a quick moment, and then it went away. And I proceeded to deal with my mom's stuff. But yeah, it was when I got back to Arizona after, you know, cleaning out her house and everything. I sat in my office for about 6 to 7 months and literally did research and created I've Got It Covered. It was first called The Final Chapter. And it had a picture of like you're walking through a forest and going into the light, because that's where my mind was at the time. But since then I rebranded it and made it I've Got It Covered because it looked a little morbid before. And I don't want it to be a morbid thing. I want people of all ages to be prepared. It doesn't matter how old you are. Right. If you are breathing and you have people to leave behind, you have to be prepared. So here we go. We're here and I've Got It Covered. I started selling it to my clients, and I do retirement seminars for some big grocery chains and school districts, and people have found it incredibly useful. So I hired a marketing person and put it out there, and here we are.
And that's how she found me. That's how she found me, because her marketing person reached out to me, and I thought, I got to talk to this woman. This sounds like an interesting story. And you know, honestly, Dana, when I started talking to you, I didn't even talk to you with a plan of like, hey, we should do a challenge. It just kind of came up in the conversation. I was like, you know, we should do a challenge. This would be really good, because this is something that I have been like not wanting to do. You know, I've got a 14-year-old, and I know from probably around the time when he was born, I've been wanting to do this. Kay Flannery had said, how can one purchase the book? So you can go to Dana's website, Dava Publishing, D-A-V-A. And do you want to explain what Dava means?
Yes. Um, Dava, all of this is done in the honor of my mom. Every single thing that I have done with this book, oh my gosh, I'm not going to cry.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm not going to do it. Every single thing that I have done with this book is to honor my mother. I submitted it for copyright on her birthday, which was September 4th. And I created my own publishing company so I could publish my own book and do whatever I wanted to do with it, have all of the rights and all of that. So I created Dava Publishing, and Dava stands for Dana Artser and Vivian Ankrum. So my mom is out there all over the United States right now. She's in the UK, she's in Australia. So yeah, I don't know if she's happy or not about all of that, but I know she's watching down and she is so, she's so happy. So I'm so happy to be able to bless all of you with this book, and we're going to make it fun. It's not going to be a horrible, daunting task. We're going to make it fun and challenging.
And, when Dana and I had spoken, I guess it was when we were starting to plan how we were going to do this challenge, we thought, okay, maybe we would do maybe like a kickoff, let's do a Zoom kickoff. And then I thought we would just do maybe one and then maybe one at the end. But Dana, you were like, well, let's just do one every week. And I thought, why not? Because that would keep everybody focused and knowing that, okay, Saturday night, 7:00, this is where we all meet up. We're going to talk about what we did and what challenges that we ran into. And even today, like I started working on this morning, like when I woke up, it's the first thing that I did. I went to a spreadsheet that I have that's already populated with accounts and things like that. But, there was things that I learned from doing that. Like, and I told you, Dana, earlier that I was going to cover some of those like lessons learned just from what I've done so far. And I thought that this space where we meet every week would be a good place to come together and say, hey, when I was trying to get the account numbers for, my accounts, and here's some challenges I ran into. So I think it's a place where we can meet every week and talk about how was it, what did we accomplish this week and what challenges did we run into? Because if we have this information to share with one another, it's going to make it easier for all of us. Because I'll admit, I'm still kind of confused. Like, okay, when do I do a will? How do I, like, I'm still confused over some of it. So today I actually just started with the easiest part, which was trying to gather account numbers. And Dana, you had a good idea when I talked to you the other day. I think it was yesterday. You had a good idea about maybe every week what we do is we have a certain task every week in the process so that it's not so
mapped all that out. I mapped all of that.
Oh,
I'm on it, people. I'm on it.
Bless you.
So here's kind of my thought process. Because we want to all stay motivated, but we don't want to be overwhelmed because it's a lot of information that we have to gather. So my thought is to take the guide and do pages 1 through 23. I'm opening my guide and I don't have my glasses on. Let me call my husband just a moment. Darby.
Bring my glasses.
Oh my gosh, he closed the door so I could have privacy and he can't hear me. Hold on.
And by the way, everyone, while Dana's getting that, this is Dana's anniversary. And she is in this amazing hotel room that has this huge tub that I just want to soak in.
Do you want me to show you?
Yes, you can show us. If anybody doesn't mind, I would love to see this tub. I feel like that's what I want to do is just go away and just get a room somewhere.
Here we go. Here's the bathtub.
Ooh, that looks great.
Isn't it fabulous?
That is nice.
I'm gonna put in 50 pounds of Epsom salts and just float.
Exactly. And the balcony wraps around like almost the entire room. And then I thought, like you're on there and you're only there for one night. So I'm thinking we got to make this short so you have time to go in.
My husband's asleep on the couch. It's okay. this is my time. I told him, I said, okay, we can go, we can get the big room, but you have to give me a little over an hour. So we're good. I want to do this. I'm excited. So,
Yes.
so if you look at your guide, my plan is to go through all the way, complete pages. Where does it start? Information. Okay, pages 4 through 23. That's a lot, but if you work on it an hour or two a night, it shouldn't be a problem. Some of you may be able to get it done in one night if you're already organized.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that didn't buy the guide, you don't have to, it's optional. So what I'll do is when I send the email out to those of you like who already have something that they're working with, what I'll do is I'll go through the workbook and I'll actually just list the topics.
Oh no, we can do better than that.
What's that?
They can go, yeah, they can go on Dava Publishing, and there is a sample PDF of the book. So if they want to do their own, like just get a notebook, and I'm sorry, I'm not a good salesperson, but there you go. If they have their own notebook, they can write the subjects down. They can see it's the book in its entirety. So there you go. And then the binder is on there as well. So they can look at the description of the binder and see all of the stuff that's in the binder and make their own.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. So
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
When are we going to get our books?
You should, I was praying so hard that you guys would get them today. I sent all of now, did you order the kit or the book?
The notebook.
Okay, when did you order it?
I think on Monday, maybe Sunday. I was the one
Really?
that I couldn't, the code wouldn't work with.
Which, I'm sorry, I don't see your name, your little teeny tiny picture. What's your
Oh.
name?
Kath Ott.
I don't know. I cannot tell you, but we have sent all of the orders out. But I tell you what, if you don't have one by Monday, you can call me, give me your email address. I will email you the PDF so you can at least see it. And then I will send you out another book free of charge.
Well, wait, because if I had the PDF, don't send a book until make sure I get it, because I wouldn't want to get two. That wouldn't be fair to you.
No. I want you to have the information so you can be able to start it. It does, it's a PDF, for gosh sakes. This is my second business, but I'm not in this for the money. Don't get me wrong. I love all the sales. Thank you, people. You kicked our butts for the weekend, but
I know Dana was like, what can I do? This is amazing. And I was like, Dana, I just love it. You know what? It's all about building community. It's really about helping all of us just tackle this white elephant in the room, this topic that we don't want to talk about. So, this is much bigger than sales. Like, this is not even about sales. This is about making our lives better, really making our lives better.
She didn't only sell them. She is explaining it and guiding us through it. It's a whole different ballpark.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, doing it together is, I'm telling you, we should have a challenge for every difficult thing in our life.
So, Serena, can I tell them about my challenge?
Yeah, sure.
So what I've decided to do, because Serena was so incredibly inspiring by doing this challenge, I have decided to continue to go forward with it. And if I'm getting it all set up right now, I'm having my insurance website redone so I can have people sign up for the challenge nationwide. You can gather your family and friends and do a challenge with 5 or 10 or 15 of you, or 2 or 3 or whatever you want. But it's just truly to open the lines of communication. My website that you're going to be going to, if you want to direct people to the new challenge after this one, and it's probably going to start in September or October. I know I will need a break after this is done. It'll be on my website, and it's www.ivegotitcovered.net. So you don't have to go to the publishing company or anything like that, and they can actually submit an entry form right from there, and then they would get an email confirmation, and then we just kind of take it from there. It's going to be very, very close to what we're doing here. I'm trying to learn from Serena all that I can. I'm totally new at all this.
So Dana, let's talk about some tips in getting started, because like I said, there was a couple things that I came across today just in pulling my accounts. I mean, I had all the account numbers and passwords, but I came up with some things that I wanted to share as people move forward in gathering, accounts and all of that. So you and I had talked about some tips, and I think the first thing that you and I had talked about is getting your family involved. Because I think right now we're all sitting here in this challenge and we're like, yeah, we're going to do this, but we really have to have support. And the people who are going to be involved in this, the ones that either we're leaving behind, or, we might be trying to do this for maybe an elderly parent or something. So
Right.
What information or tips can you provide on like how best to get other people involved in this? Because it's not just us.
I will say, if you are doing this for yourself, when you tell your children or your spouse or whoever that you are doing it, they are going to be incredibly thankful. And when you tell them that you would like them to be involved, whether it is via the telephone or coming over and helping you do it or whatever, it is bringing people together. I've seen it in my community. I wish I would have done it with my mom, but unfortunately I didn't. So my hope is that people will do it together. So my advice is to tell your family that you are doing this, because if they don't know you have it, it's not going to do them any good if they don't find it. So tell the person that's going to be your POA or, your closest loved ones that you have this, and tell them that, you want it to be a family event. And it doesn't have to be morbid. It doesn't. Trust me, when you start filling this stuff out and you have your family together, it's going to lead to wonderful things. It's going to lead to wonderful dinners and doing it after dinner. It's going to be fabulous conversation. It's not something we like to talk about, but it's something that, especially now with COVID, this craziness that's going on, I don't know about you. I'm totally good. When I go, I know where I'm going, and I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want to leave my children or my husband burdened with anything. They're going to be going through enough. And my hope is that when you have this system, whether it's mine or you make your own, that when the time comes, your family will feel your loving hands guiding them through the process, just like I did.
Mm.
I already have a Zoom call planned for tomorrow with my kids to go over this.
Yay!
Yay, Letty, I'm so excited. That is awesome.
That's fabulous.
That is awesome. And I've been getting, I don't know if my mom is on right now. It's so funny, Dana. Me and Dana were testing the system. I just sent her a message, said, Mom, get on the call. And I don't think she's on. I didn't see her name pop up. But Dana and I, we were testing this Zoom just to make sure that it worked, like around 4 o'clock. And my mom was not paying attention to the time zones, and she thought it was we're in Maryland, so we're Eastern time zone. So she thought it was 4 o'clock. So she logged in. I'm like, what is my mom doing waiting in the waiting room, trying to get into the Zoom call? So she was 3 hours early. But I'm having her do this too. And she doesn't have any assets, there's nothing complicated, but there's things that she may want to leave behind, things that she need to know. And so I'm having her do this. She signed up for the challenge and I'm getting her involved. Tried to get my mother-in-law involved. I mentioned it to her. She's a little bit more, I don't even know what the word is to describe her. She just sort of, when I mentioned it to her, she was like, she just sort of laughed like, okay. Because I told her, I said, well, when you pass, it's probably going to be me and like, there's two sons that live in the area. So it's going to be me and these two that have to clean all this stuff out. We know nothing about where her stuff is. So, I'm trying to even just urge her, like, hey, you want to, get rid of those scrubs that you no longer need because you're not a nursing assistant anymore. Just kind of throw that stuff away, or donate it. We don't throw things away here at Thrift Diving. Donate it. But yeah, I think it's really important to get people involved and just have this conversation and not make it morbid, so that it's just like what you said, Dana. So
It
where,
doesn't- Yeah, when my mom, before all of this was done, probably about 6 to 8 months before all of this, before I knew she was sick, I went out to visit her and she said, so I want you to make me a list of everything you want when I die. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I refuse to do that. You are not going to die.
I know it's the thing that we don't want to. It's the thing that we don't want to think about.
Right.
So we also had talked about how much time do you think people need to set aside every day? Because there's probably a lot of things we're going to need to do this month. How much time is
Right.
realistic that we need to be focusing on this every single day?
Depending on how organized you are. If you don't know where anything is, it's going to take you a lot longer. But, most people have their banking information and all of their financial information fairly close to each other. So, that type of information, I think, would be fairly easy. If you don't, well, now is the time to get it together.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you do it, it's going to be done. And if you do, make sure you do it in pencil so you guys can revise it whenever needed. But I think the biggest thing is really just to get started. Don't put the book on your table. This is a challenge. And by the way, I will tell all of you that I am going to give everyone a certificate of completion when you're finished. I'm going to email one to you so it will look super official. But it's all in trying to make something that none of us want to do into something that all of us want to do for our families and for our peace of mind. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm going crazy with this stuff. Seriously.
It brings it into focus.
It really does. I mean, I think I put a lot of stuff in the book that most people really don't even think about. And I don't know where Serena went. Where did she go? Serena? Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. But I try to, like, one of the subjects in there is good friends and sometimes nosy neighbors. And I totally got that from my mom because she used to tell me, my neighbor is so nosy. She just has to know everything I do. So your neighbors and your good friends probably know more about you than your family if they don't live near you and you don't see them on a daily basis. So, do you want to start going into the book a little bit, Serena?
Yes, I did have a question from, and I lost the chat when I lost internet connection, but someone had asked, do you recommend putting, like, as you're collecting information, maybe, if you're just writing things down in a small notebook, collecting things, they wanted to know if you then transfer all that information to the big binder. So I guess maybe the difference between the small workbook, maybe that's what they meant, the small workbook, and then putting everything in the large binder, or is it just?
Okay, so my suggestion is for the guide, which is, the spiral bound one, the little one.
Mm-hmm.
My suggestion is to record all of the information in there. Now, you don't have to put all of your bank account statements in the binder and all of that stuff because you have your account numbers and all of that information here. Your loved ones somebody's going to have a POA or you're going to have an executor. So they're not going to need all of that. That's just overkill. We're trying to keep it, in my business, I try and say, keep it simple, stupid. You've got to have everything you need, but not in excess.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as that goes, I would keep like annuity contracts, not necessarily your statements, but your contracts. any 401 paperwork, that you have with your financial advisor. Of course, extra ID cards, your insurance policies, your Medicare Part D, all of that important stuff needs to go in there. And then, of course, we've got all of the state-specific legal forms in the binder as well. So I would say that if anybody has, a lot of assets, if you've got a huge house and you got a ton of money and a bunch of kids, I would say for sure get a trust. And again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just telling you what I know and what I have learned. So please don't anybody think that I am giving legal advice, because I'm not. That is my disclaimer. I'm just going by what I know and what I know from my own experience. But anyway.
We've got
I'm
a
sorry?
question from Christy. Christy said, is gathering account info our first assignment? Will we be working the same things each week, or is it up to us to choose what we want to focus on during the week?
So the first week, we are going to start on page 4. Oh, wait, no, I'm lying. Not page 4. Hold on. What is
It
it?
is 4 to 23.
Is it 4?
4 to 23.
I have it on my lap and I didn't look at it. So yes, we're going to do page 4 through 23 this first week. So that is a lot of financial and medical information and things like that. And then week 2, we're going to get more into our personal information, our grandkids, all the fun stuff is week 2.
Okay. And then what's the focus for week 3?
Week 3, so at the end of week 2, so week 2, we're going to be focusing on finishing the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to start gathering our financial documents, like our annuity contracts, our insurance policies, extra ID cards, copy of your Medicare card. You can make a copy of your Social Security card to keep in there. Now, most places you have to have the original Social Security card, and you cannot laminate your Social Security card, just FYI. You can your Medicare card, but not your Social Security card. So if you want to do that, you can. So, the hard copies is what we're going to be beginning on at the end of week 3. Week 4 is going to be inserting all of those hard copies into the binder. Week 4 is going to be kind of a big one. And you may not get it finished, but if you want to start it, if you get finished on week 3 and you can start on week 4, we're going to be tackling the legal documents. And those are, they're important. We've got a last will and testament, a living will, a do not resuscitate order, and in the states that require them to be on a certain colored paper, we have put those on that certain colored paper. So if somebody didn't get one on the certain color, you let me know and I will send you one. But we try to do our best to do that. Like Arizona, we have to have ours on bright orange paper. Then for POAs, power of attorneys, we've got your vehicle power of attorney. We have your what's called a limited power of attorney. We've got your real estate power of attorney, your tax power of attorney, your durable financial power of attorney, and your healthcare directive, so your medical power of attorney.
Okay, that's a lot.
You can make copies of all of these. If you have a spouse, just make copies. Have your spouse do it with you. You don't have to buy everything else. Again, not a great salesperson, but whatever.
You're a great salesperson.
The
You're
important thing
honest.
is to
You're
get this
honest.
done.
You're honest. That's what I love. That's going to be a lot. So I think before you had said maybe like 30 to 60 minutes per day.
If you
I mean,
can,
depending on how organized
Yeah.
or maybe not organized you are.
If you're not organized, you may need a couple hours a day.
Mhm.
If you are organized, maybe an hour might do it for you. It really just depends on if you're a Facebooker and you get distracted easily, or if you have children in the house. You know, the thing is, we get started, and by the end of this 30 days, you may not be finished, but you'll be very close.
Mhm.
And you'll be so close that you won't want to just blow it off,
Right.
because that would be stupid. Should I say that? I'm sorry.
No, that's you're keeping it real. It would be stupid. It wouldn't make sense to get this far in the game after 4 weeks and then just not finish.
Right.
So yeah. So I wanted to just go over a couple of things that I had run into this morning, just going through my accounts. Now, what I have right now is a spreadsheet, and I've kept it for years. I pretty much list all of me and hubby's accounts and all of that. Didn't have the account numbers, but I pretty much had the login information. One of the things that I found that would be helpful, just long term, is to make sure that you're clear on your accounts. Like, what I mean is how to actually access your accounts. Because you know, on at least Chrome, all of my accounts have automatic login. So at some point, I kind of forget what my login information is. So what I did this morning was, when I was going through each of my accounts, instead of just logging in, I actually, you know, deleted the little auto login that Chrome likes to put in there, and then typed in what I knew my email to be, whether it was from the spreadsheet or from my mind. And that way I could make sure that I knew exactly what that login is. So I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, when you're first collecting all this, don't just auto log in. Make sure you know what that login is. And if this might even be a good time to change it, you know, if you haven't changed it for years or whatever, it might be a good time to change it. But that's one of the things that I noticed today. Just making sure that you're actually logging in when you're collecting all this information. And then also too, if you have any problems accessing some of the accounts, because of coronavirus, I noticed that a lot of wait times are extended. So today I was trying to get into, I think it was like TD Ameritrade, you know, some small account that I don't even really use, but there was $58 in there. So I had to find out how to get into this account. And it took me 30 minutes. I had to wait on the phone for 30 minutes. So just keep in mind, if you're having to reset passwords because you don't remember what that is, you definitely may have a little bit of a longer wait. So keep that in mind. Another thing that I noticed too, is you might want to just note the email address. This is something that I've been marking down with each of my accounts. Note the email address that is associated with the account. I've got like a personal and a business email, and sometimes I use different, I don't know, I'm all over the place, but I just sort of make sure that I know what account that is. I don't know if when you're calling, they say, oh, what's your email associated with the account? You might want to just note that too. And then also too, when you're collecting this financial information this week, because I think that's part of what is on this 4 to 23. If you have not gotten your credit report, that might be a good thing to do this week as well. And you can get free copies of your credit report from annualcreditreport.com. There are 3, you know, it's, gosh, don't have me telling, TransUnion, and then the other 2. So how it works
Equifax and Experience.
Yes, thank you. So you are able to get one free report from each of those credit reporting agencies throughout the year. So you can, I've seen people do one of 2 things. You can order one report from each of the 3 at one time, but I've also seen people recommend, you know, maybe right now you do TransUnion, maybe in 4 months you do Equifax, and then you can split it up. But it might be helpful, I think, right now to just get all 3, and you can get it from annualcreditreport.com. There's no fee. They just want you to verify your information to make sure it's really you.
Serena, I think right now that you can get a free report at any time because of COVID going on too.
Oh, really? Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. And I think that would be a good thing to do. That way, there might be accounts that you forgot that you even had. And that might be a good way to just cross-check with what you think you have and what you really have.
Hey, Serena.
Yes.
Speaking of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but speaking of things you don't know that you have, I want to kind of jump in and tell the story of my dad's life insurance policy that I found.
Oh, yes, yes, please do.
Okay, so my dad passed in the 80s, and he remarried before he passed, and my mom eventually remarried. So I heard on Good Morning America one day this story about like found money or something like that. And God, I wish I could remember the website I went to, but you can Google foundmoney.com, I think it is, or something like that. And so what I did is I just started putting in my relatives' names just to see what came up. And my dad's name came up, and he had a life insurance policy that we didn't know about, that apparently nobody knew about. And my mom was the beneficiary. This was like, I don't know, 23 years after they got divorced. So I told my mom, I'm like, do you know he has a life insurance policy and you're the beneficiary? Again, being insurance, I know how to kind of get in the back door and find out that information. So I just kind of did the legwork for her and got the documents and sent them in, and she got the benefits from his life insurance policy.
That is awesome.
You know, do the legwork. It pays off.
I found money from my father too. I mean, it wasn't a life insurance policy. It was a small amount, but it took a lot of legwork to get. I mean, it was like 20 years, but I had to come up with something that had the same address. I had moved 4 or 5 times in between. Somehow I found one piece of paper with that address, and I was able to claim the money.
God is good. He'll let you find it.
That is awesome. And what is it? What is that called? Foundmoney.com?
I'm honestly not sure, but I think that's what I Googled, like found money or something like that. Yeah. There's a couple different ones. But yeah, I mean, they're super. Just make sure it's not a spoofy one. And I don't know how to tell you whether it is or not. But
I think the original one is like it's like a federal thing.
Okay, that could be as well. Yeah. Anybody here on this call work for the federal government that can tell us that? No?
We can find out.
I don't know how to talk. Damn it.
All right. Well, okay. Somebody here is smart enough to figure that out. So we need somebody to get on that.
Audio's not working. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there you are. Did you need something? Were you going to say something, Darlene?
No, I was just saying my audio's not working, but I needed to move closer to this laptop to do it. All this time I've been trying to figure that out.
Well, now you know.
Because I am technologically challenged as well.
That's okay though. You know, for anybody here, is there anyone here that's never done a Zoom before? Because now you have been like indoctrinated into the like holy grail of online communication. Woo!
Yay! Welcome to the world of Zoom. We're sorry that we did this to you.
I know. And can I just say that Zoom, before this whole pandemic, Zoom apparently was maybe about $75 a share, and now it's about $210 per share.
It's almost like Tesla.
Yes. So if I don't know, if I had been smart, usually my husband gives me top stock tips and I'll be like, okay, I'll just invest in this because he told me to. But he didn't tell me about Zoom.
Motley Fool, I'm telling you. I'm not supposed to plug any other stuff, but I know it's working for me. So Motley Fool is the way to go.
So we have some homework to do this week. We've got some homework, and I think let's see here. Let me see. I'm just looking at the comments here to see if there's any questions that I missed. Oh, okay. Christy supplied a website link.
Yay,
and
Christy.
the website link, yes, Christy, go, Christy. It's www.usa.gov/unclaimed-money. So I'm going to put that in like the replay that's going to come out in your email. I will put that link in there because some people will need to know that.
Will you say it one more time?
Sure. It's and I don't know if you can see the chat down below. There's a little button that says chat at the bottom of your screen there.
Yeah, but it came up and then it disappeared.
Oh yeah. So it's www.usa.gov/unclaimed and then a little dash, money. I'm going to check that out. Interesting story. Back when I lost my job in 2015, I was collecting unemployment while I was technically looking for a job, but that's when I kind of kicked off thrift diving full time. Never really looked back, but I was collecting unemployment while looking for a full-time job. And I didn't know that they had put in like $900 into some Bank of America account. So last year they sent me a notification that, hey, you've got $900. Didn't even know that I had this money, and it just came in the mail, and I thought it was spam. So I almost didn't reply to it, but sure enough, it was legit. So, looking for this money, like sometimes we have accounts we completely forgot about or didn't even know about. So this is definitely worth looking at. Denise said that your state may have a separate site also. So check your state site and see. And Christy said that link is for government money that may be owed to you. And I'm sure you would need other sites for insurance policies and such. Oh, and Christy said this is her first Zoom. Next time she will appear and talk. She's in observation mode. Okay, I'm gonna be like, clapping for Christy because next week she's gonna go live with us.
Next week, we're gonna see your face, Christy.
But does anybody have like any questions or anything that they just want to add? I know Dana and I have been talking the whole time. Does anybody just want to add anything to the conversation?
You mentioned a credit report, and what is the credit report for?
So the credit report, I would say, is a good place to make sure that all the accounts that you're collecting information for is thorough. So you might think you have, let's say, 3 credit cards, but maybe you have 5 and you forgot about the other 2. So it just gives you a place to just cross-check what you think you have.
Make sure nobody's messing with your credit, especially as a senior. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but before about 2 years ago, they changed everybody's Medicare numbers because your Medicare number used to be your Social Security number. Go figure. You throw that card out there every time you're somewhere medical. Mm-hmm. So, if you're a senior and you haven't checked your credit report lately, I urge you to do so. You need to make sure that everything is secure, and there's no funky stuff going on in there. Mm-hmm. For sure. And if anybody has Medicare questions or anything like that, I know open enrollment is coming up and people get really confused. That's what I specialize in. I'm really good at it, and I can give you the down low. And again, I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm just here to educate people. Mm. So there you go.
Shamika has a great comment. She said she would like to add a source to get a will. It's www.freewill.com. She said she did it a few months ago. It's fairly simple to get started. It's free, and you just have to have it notarized when it's complete. That is a great tip. Thank you, Shamika.
I don't know if it's always legit in every state. You have to find out if your state allows for one.
Okay.
So the wills that are included in your binders, if you ordered a binder, they are all state specific. And what I have done, again, I am not an attorney. And so those of you that are doing your own binders and your own guides, what I did is every time I got an order from a new state, I went to eforms.com, and that is where I downloaded the information from. So every binder that y'all have, your forms are state specific. If you need other forms, there's some different power of attorneys, like a child care power of attorney, and there's some different ones on there. So if you need anything else that you want to add to your binder, go on to eforms.com. So yeah, that would be helpful for people as well.
Do you need a POA then for somebody to take over your business? How does that work?
Yeah, you're gonna need a durable POA, and that would, if you have a business, I have 2, so I would definitely speak with an attorney. Not just a regular will and a POA is going to suffice. You need to speak with an attorney for sure.
I'm glad that Letty brought that up because that's something that I've been thinking about a lot. thrift diving, and I know some of you, Letty, I know Letty's got it. First of all, for anybody that loves vintage things, and Letty, I was just looking at your eBay page, not eBay, sorry,
Etsy.
Etsy, because they sent me a bill today for like the 2 items that I list, and I have you saved under my favorites, my favorite shops. And so I was looking at all your stuff, and I'm like, oh, Letty. So if anybody likes vintage things, Letty has an amazing vintage shop on Etsy. So
Thank you.
yes. And what's the name of your shop?
Lexi Ladies Treasures.
Lexi Ladies Treasures. But with the business, if there's any other small business owners, this is something that I think would be a great, this is why I think the challenge is so great, because when you're just a small business owner, you are the business. So if you pass away, there's nobody else that's here to take it over. And for me, that's scary because, thrift diving, how I make my money is a lot of it's ad revenue. So when you watch my YouTube videos, when you go to my blog, there's ads there, and that's just, I call it passive income, but that money gets shuffled into accounts that my husband knows they exist, but he doesn't know where they are. What happens to that business when you leave? Is that business something that can be sold? And if so, who's going to handle selling that business? Like that's a big question. And if they don't sell it, who's going to be able to just manage some of the maintenance things, or even just like, for example, if you have an Etsy business, if there's, that's a little different because like Letty, with your business, you're actually finding things that you're selling, vintage items that you're selling and listing. So there takes some amount of work. But like with thrift diving, if something happens to me tomorrow, you guys are still going to be like finding my videos. I'm still going to be earning ad revenue on that. So there's money that's coming in every month that if my husband doesn't know where that money's going, it's just going to go to an account and he's going to be like, well, where's this, so I need to be able to designate who's going to take over this business, or if he's going to sell it, how does he even do that? So there's a lot more that I have to plan. It's like
Sorry about that.
It's
Sorry,
just
people.
bigger and bigger.
Oh, look, Valerie said something about if you have a business in an EIN, you can create a business trust, I believe. Is that what she said?
Oh, Valerie, yeah, business if incorporated has an EIN can, oh, okay. I know that I've got an EIN.
So
I
do
need to
I.
look into that. I need to look into that. Thank you, Valerie, for adding that.
You know what? I'm gonna miss this so much. It's only our first day, but when this is done, I'm gonna be so sad.
Well, everybody, for the most part, not everybody, but most of us are going to be over in the Facebook group. So I know some people had said that they were not on Facebook, and that's okay. You don't have to be. But what we do on Facebook is like when we come up with questions in between the weeks, we can go onto the Facebook and say, hey, I've got a question about this. What do you guys think? So if you're not part of the Facebook group, consider joining. If you're on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, you're not going to miss anything. You can still join these calls, and we're going to do them every week. I think we have it planned out and it'll be, just to let you know, it'll be the same link and the same meeting ID to get into. So, and I'll make sure that reminders come out because it's just easier to do it that way.
Cool.
Gigi, I think you were going to say something, right? I think you had a question or a comment.
Yeah, I had a couple things I wanted to know. The legal forms that you're talking about for the power of attorney, tax, power of attorney financial, your healthcare directive, and you said something about automobile power of attorney. So are you able to fill those out and they get notarized?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And that's good in a court of law? How do we know when we need to go to an attorney and when we can do it on our own and then just the notary is okay?
I would honestly say if you have just a house that, if you have just a couple of kids and not a whole lot of assets, like you don't have a 401k, you've just got Social Security, you've got a home, but not a whole lot of belongings that are worth a lot, I think you'd be okay with the POA, the will, and things like that to avoid the probate. But if you have extensive assets, you have significant money in the bank, or if your retirement IRA, 401k, or if you have a business for sure, or if you have several children, an attorney or a trust. I think a trust would probably be cheaper than an attorney, but again, I'm not an attorney, so I would say contact one that you trust and ask them about the trust.
And so this attorney, there are specific attorneys that deal, like if let's say we did a search for Silver Spring, Maryland, estate planning attorney, like that's the name, kind of the name of what we're looking for. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Because I know for me, everything that you listed there is me: business, lots of kids, bank accounts, 401ks. Like it could get very messy.
And I will tell people, don't be afraid to have a glass of wine when you're doing it. You're probably going to be cussing at me for a little while, but that's okay, because I'm gonna love you through it.
And Letty, your site is, somebody, Robin had asked to spell out your Etsy site in the notes section. Is it Letty's Lexi Treasures?
I'll put it in.
Okay. Yeah, she's got like some cool bed sheets, like Star Wars bed sheets, and like cool things. I was like, man, all these things that we just discarded from the 80s. We thought, we don't use that anymore.
Hey, they're back. We're showing our age. It's okay.
Does anybody else have any questions? We got like 2 minutes left. Questions, comments?
I do have one thing. So my dad just recently passed away, and that's why I'm actually here in this location right now in North Carolina. But I actually live down the street from you, not too far, like 30 minutes from you. And what I'm finding when you have a parent that passes away in another state, there's quite a bit more that is specific to that state. And it's not just the state, but to the county and sometimes to the township. So one exercise you may want to do is act as if you were your own child, going through the process of going through the paperwork of your parent and everything else. Because even though my father's estate was really small and he had a will and all of that information through LegalZoom, he didn't file it in the court, which he should have, but it was notarized, so it was accepted. But the state itself requires that it goes into probate. If there's no trust, it has to go into probate. And there's a period of time for the probate. So you want to kind of go through the exercise yourself before your child has to do it for you. Because there's a lot more to it, especially when you're in different states and you're trying to balance those two things out. That's all.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. Sorry to hear about your loss.
I'm sorry too.
Me too. Me too.
Well, we're giving you a big hug right now.
I'll take it.
Happy to be here.
The virtual,
Sending it virtually.
virtual love.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, I would just, if I may, I just would like everyone, once you get your binders and your guide and stuff like that, and you don't have to do it today, but I truly am really trying to get this out there and just try and get people prepared for this. And if you could just go on the DAVA Publishing site and the davapublishing.com, and there's a review thing, just click on it. Or you can find me on Facebook, Dana G. Artser, I think it is. I just really want to know how this is affecting your lives. It's for me, and it's for me to share with my mom. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Or that I am truly being a blessing to people. Like I think that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my job right now.
It's actually helping me get through what I have to get through now with my dad's stuff.
Oh, Valerie, you know what? My number is 602-376-7260. If anybody, any of you, no lie, I am in this for the love. I want to share it. And if you need to talk to somebody, you call me, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you.
And that's
Dana,
for
can
every
you-
single
Dana,
one of
can
you.
you give me your number again? I mean, I'm gonna put it in the chat. So if anybody wants to write that down.
Sure, it's 602
602
376
376
7260.
7260.
And my email is dana@I'veGotItCovered.net.
I love it.
So, again, if you need any support, if you need any advice, if you need to know something about Medicare or whatever, I'm here for you. I'm so thankful that all of us are doing this together.
No,
I'm not doing mine today though, because I'm going to go wake up my husband and have some anniversary time.
in that wonderful tub of yours.
Yeah, I'm going to take a bath first and let him sleep. There you go.
It's an anniversary time.
Happy anniversary, Dana.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. 24 years.
Wow. That's awesome.
I know.
That is
So
awesome.
It's hard. It's hard. We have a 19-year-old at home, and good Lord, she'll be the death of me. That's all I'm saying. But
so what's
this.
the secret?
Sorry.
Huh?
What's the one secret for 24 years of marriage?
Oh my gosh. God. If I didn't have him, and I haven't always been a godly person, those of you that come to know me after this challenge will come to know I will have a book coming out one of these days, but my life has not been easy and I am not a saint. That's all I'm saying. But the good Lord has blessed me in a time of my worst grief. And doing this it totally brought me through my grief process. So, my mom's all over it. So there you go.
I think, Dana, I told you later this month, my husband and I, we've been together 25 years, married for 15. And we met when we were 17. Well, I was 17, he was 18, and we met at the University of Maryland the summer before we started college. And if I were to answer Valerie's question, this relates to kind of what he told me yesterday. Like he said, I pretty much just have to say yes to everything. And I thought,
smart man.
That is the answer. Just agree with whatever I say, because I'm a reasonable person. I'm not being just agree. Just say yes. I'm going to do it anyway. So,
do we have any men on this challenge? I mean, on here at all?
I don't think so.
Are we all women? Are we the only ones that care?
Probably.
I think that's it.
Okay, well then I'm going to say, let's raise our glasses. And
I'm out, Dana.
Me too. I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I have nothing in mind.
I've got water.
We'll raise our empty glasses.
And boring almonds.
Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
I am so happy to be doing all of this with you, and I look forward to the next 4 weeks.
I know, right?
If you have questions, again, I do have another business, so if I don't answer, you can text me or leave a message, and I will get back with you. Too sweet.
Definitely. And I will be sending out a recording. Hopefully, everything's been recorded, but where I dropped, I may have to mush it all together. But I'll send out a recording. So if there's anybody that you want family members to watch this, it'll be somewhere where you can send a link. And hopefully maybe that will inspire them to get on board as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, so let's do it. Does anybody have any final questions, comments? Anybody want to speak up?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I have been working with an estate attorney that I found through my church that I really like. And, I've done a lot of my paperwork, but he doesn't have anything like this that he utilizes. And even though you have all your legal documents in order, if you don't have something like this to kind of put the two together for your family, you know, because your trust and your legal documents are one thing, but your actual life and what your life is like every day and all these pieces that they're going to need to know, to me, it's like a companion piece. You need both.
Right.
Exactly.
I think this is, I mean, you know, I'm really impressed by this. I think this is a great guide. And the fact that you're, you know, doing this out of love for your mother, I just think that's wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, you're going to make me cry. Imagine if I would have 2 glasses of wine. This would not be pretty. I'm so thankful. I'm so glad that you like it. And I know that your family is truly going to, you know, honestly, I will say out of all the stuff my mom left me, jewelry, money, house, car, the guide. That's what means the most. She took the time to do it.
And it gave you time, it gave you time to grieve. And the thing that you told me that really stood out during our conversation during the podcast was when you were making these phone calls, because you said that's all you had to do is phone calls. It felt like she was holding your hand.
Truly. I truly felt that.
That stood out to me. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I did. I thought I would fall apart, but I was okay. I was just like, I just kept telling my husband, I cannot believe I am not a wreck. I don't know. It's by the grace of God that I have peace beyond all understanding is what I had. I don't even know how else to explain it. So there you go. And that's what I want all of you to have as well, and your families.
Yes.
So,
we're going to make it happen.
You. Yeah, we're going to make it happen. We're going to change people's lives, woman.
Yes, we are.
Please love it forward, people. If you have friends and family that you think need to do this challenge, remember, have them email me at dana@I'veGotItCovered.net. In the subject line, they're going to put 30 days to get prepared challenge. And I will do them all over the United States. There's a minimum, you know, I have a minimum of 25 to people and a maximum of 100. But you know what? If you have a family that you want to get done, you just shoot me an email and I'll put your own challenge together. The important thing is we get it done.
Yep. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, it'll feel like this weight is off of your shoulders. Cause I know for myself, it's that thing that's just been like, just picking at me in the back of my head. Like, Serena, you've got to do this. Now we're doing it. And I don't know about you guys, but I've enjoyed this. Like I had fun talking about this. Like whoever thought, you know, we would, you know, smile and talk about this, but, I enjoyed myself and I'm motivated. And, you know, if there's any questions that come up during the week, if you guys are in the Facebook group, drop it in the Facebook group. We're all in there. If for those of us who are not in there, if you have questions, Dana said you can email her, you can email me. And I will even put it in the Facebook group for other people to answer the questions if you've got it. All right. So any final words before I end this from anyone? Going once, going twice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so
You're welcome,
see you in the
everybody.
group, and next week you'll be getting some emails. But next week, plan on 7 o'clock. We're going to be here, and we'll talk about all the stuff that we were able to collect during the week, and any challenges that came up, any lessons learned.
Great. Call me if you need any help.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right,
God
guys,
bless.
have a good weekend. Good rest of your weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Serena.
Bye. Have fun on your anniversary.
Oh, I will.
Bye.
Bye.